Should I go exclusive with Deliveroo or Uber Eats? The answer is it depends. There are many factors that play into this decision, and all of them are equally important. It's impossible to give a blanket statement to everyone, but a few considerations can be, for example, your type of customer. So are they, for example, big spenders? Are they single? Do they live in a family household? Or do they order certain hours of the day? Do they concentrate in a certain geography? So that's one of the biggest consideration, and that's because each delivery app actually tends to have a prevalence in certain geographical zones. So that's one thing, for example. The other thing is to take into account that often people, restaurants don't tend to consider is actually the additional overhead of dealing with multiple delivery apps. So it's hidden because it's not obvious, but you're looking at 20 different sites across 2 different platforms, and maybe even 3, and that actually adds a bit of burden, and it means your staff is spending more time on managing this. A valid reason for going exclusive, for example, could be just if you value simplicity over anything. That's fair enough. And then obviously there is the economic reasons. Usually exclusivity rate can be quite attractive. I see an exclusivity rate at 10-15%, but even lower than that potentially, obviously depending on the size and the type of brand. And that's really attractive when, if you are a brand new restaurant going into the delivery app right now, they may start charging you at 35%. So that's quite a significant discount. Now, then obviously related to this is, okay, if you go exclusive, would you then lose customers that wouldn't otherwise have ordered from you because they have only one delivery app installed? That's also another fair argument, which I think is a little bit difficult. Most consumers tend to have multiple apps, but usually that's no more than 1 or 2. And the convenience of Uber, for example, is that you can also tap into other services such as Uber Rides. So it tends to be the default app that people use to order online. Another consideration is also about marketing. Some of the delivery apps do excellent marketing. Some of them not so much. They would rather focus on tech optimization, or they would rather focus on the customer experience. They don't spend as much as Deliveroo, let's say. Deliveroo is probably one of the delivery app that actually has mastered the marketing game, and even made those cool uniform for riders, and they made it such a desirable job for young professionals. That's also a consideration. For example, if you have a World Cup and Deliveroo is participating to this big campaign and you want to have nationwide exposure, that's certainly to consider. It's as in every marketing expense, it's a little bit harder to quantify in numbers, but certainly that's one of the considerations. And then you also want to see what type of service you're getting from your account manager. Some of the delivery app, they tend to focus on large enterprise brands, and they provide little to no support to independent brands. That's something to take into account, because it can get frustrating really quick having to deal with online form or offshore customer service support, and slow replies and everything that comes with it, as opposed to, let's say, being able to send a WhatsApp message to your account manager or email them the director directly. So that's also a big part of it. The other consideration is certainly, which we kind of covered before with the geographical areas, but it's the riders' availability in a certain time of the day. That's, yes, we covered earlier when it comes to the geographical, the geo zone, but that also depends on who are the other restaurants around your area that may steal rider supply from your store. So that's something as well that is pretty much geographical, sit in the geographical context, but also in your competition. So you want to see if you are, whose riders are that you are competing with, and if there is enough rider supply, if you're left with enough rider supply for your store. So that's something to keep in mind. That is a little bit harder, but certainly there are tools available that or metrics that you can use as a proxy to make this decision. And then the other factor that many restaurants don't consider is that Most of the time, if you have a good relationship with all the delivery apps, it's usually a reversible solution. So the exclusivity tends to be locked for a certain time period, usually 1 year. It's something that delivery apps look at to review the performance. They want you to perform in a certain way in the kitchen and with the customer service by responding to reviews, having an exciting menu, having a high menu conversion rate. So at the end of the day, you are not locking in yourself for, in fact, if you see the big players like McDonald's, Burger King, they keep switching and they keep dancing in between being exclusive with Uber, and then the year after that they're exclusive with Deliveroo and so on. But of course those are a bit, they are a bit different from most cases. They tend to have their own sort of setup, and even delivery apps, they are so incentivized to have them in the marketplace because they bring in so much attention, and often they are not making a profit out of this, but that's a separate topic. And then you also want to look at your expansion plans. So if you are going in and you have an exclusivity discussion, expansion of your site tends to be one of the parameters that they are going to look at. It's a moving target. So that means if you have 10 sites, you want to be credible, you want to show a plan and the vision to go to, let's say, 20 sites. But then they are probably going to monitor your progress. So you want to make sure that you are actually delivering on those, on the vision, and they want to say that you're a good operator, that you're able to scale to the next level, and the metrics, operational and customer metrics, are spot on. That's certainly something that you want to look at.